Ihre gehen die Uhren mit schönen Kavalieren. In der Pudel
That is so.
allein, er machte die Bäckerle schön. Ich weine Blut, ich wehne nicht mit. Keiner hört mein Weinen mit. Auf mir ist never verloren. Ich bin geboren nach Hoffnung. Die städtische Mädel rufen sich nett. Sie lieben nicht den Jiden, nur alles Kadett. Und auf ihnen ist never verloren. Ich bin geboren nach Hoffnung. Ich weine Blut, ich werde nicht mit. Keiner hört mein Weinen mit. Und mir ist also neu. Ich bin geboren nach Hoffnung.
Okay, that was not a lot better. So we will just read it.
Very, very low. She's
Yeah,
just
so let us just read it, without, because it really doesn't make a difference. So we will just read it, okay? Okay, so let's do it from. Okay, let's just read it. Okay, Janet, please, will you start reading it?
The Ansky Jewish Folklore Research Project carries on the folklore and, excuse me, the pollen is heavy here, the pollen. Carries on the folklore and musicological research that was begun in 1919 by the Jewish Historical and Ethnographic Society of Lithuania and Belarusia, which then became the Ansky Vilna Jewish Historic Ethnographic Society in 1920. Shlomi Bastomsky headed the folklore section, which was devoted to collecting songs and legends.
Go on.
The blog Yiddish Song of the Week is one of the research project's continuing public contributions, and Itzhak Gottesman produces it. It features field recordings of rare and little-known songs, most of them by non-professional singers, as well as different versions and Gottesman's scholarly comments.
Okay, go on.
Die Städtische Mädle was recorded in New York in 1954, sung by Livsha Schechter Widman. She was born in Bukovina in 1893 and was Bela Schechter Gottesman and Mordke Schechter's mother and Itzhak Gottesman's grandmother.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah. Mari, will you continue, please?
hold on, I was just taking a pill.
Okay. Okay, good.
Gottesman reports, I could not find this song in any collection, and it is not found in the play Das Dorf's Mädel, The Village Girl, by Perlmutter and Wohl. But whether the singer Livta Schechter Widman learned it growing up in Bukovina or in New York City when she was living there from 1908 to 1914 is not clear. She went back to Europe in 1914 and did not return to live in the US until 1951.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Elaine, will you start reading?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Die städtische Mädels gehen spazieren. The young city girls go walking. Sie gehen gearmt mit schönen Kavalieren. They go arm in arm with handsome suitors.
Yes.
Sure, that's fine.
Und der Puder alleen, macht ze die bekkelech scheen. And the face powder makes their cheeks very pretty. I didn't know why Elaine was in there.
By itself, Elaine. In
So
other
the-
words, they might not have such pretty cheeks, but the powder
Oh,
itself
okay, the
by
powder
itself,
makes them good. Okay.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Yes, Vinkl, yeah.
Yeah, I had a question about gearmt. I know that it can mean like arm in arm hooked, but like in English, if you say somebody is armed, it means they could be with a defense. So is that
That's what I
is that-
thought. That's what I thought first, but then
Yeah,
I
because
looked.
it may not have guns, but at least they have these men to protect them.
De,
Sure,
sch-
and then,
de
and of course,
Städtische Mädel
but all of
gehen
them,
mit,
which
mit
also means
Wichsen.
poor.
With Bix,
Right.
with Bix, okay.
But or meaning poor, it's spelled differently, isn't it?
Right, so, so they're not armed, they're walking with the cavalieren.
Morty,
Yeah, just to mention that, sorry, a cavalier really means single man.
Right,
okay,
that's it.
okay. Elaine, go on, continue.
Ich wein und klug. Ich wer nicht müde. I cry and lament. I don't become tired. Keiner hört mein weinen nicht. No one hears my crying. Auf mir is nebech anoit. I have, alas, a hardship,
Sure, that's
need,
fine.
need destitution. I got. Ich bin geboren a Dorfsmeid. I was born a country girl. It sounds like one of the John Denver, you know, I was born a
Yeah,
country
the
boy.
country songs, yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Elaine. Thank you. Bob, can you continue, Bob?
Die städtische Mädel trugen sich nicht. Sie lieben nicht kein Jeden, nur alles Kadett. Oh boy. The city girls wear I guess tight clothes or something like that.
No.
What-
They carry them.
In this case, trugen sich means behave themselves. Behave themselves very nicely.
Trug-
carry on very
carry
nicely.
themselves.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
They don't like the Jewish boys. Only the cadets. Are they soldiers? I mean, what are cadets? Obviously non-Jewish boys.
It's hard to know exactly, but I know that there were before World War One, they would have been under the Austrian Empire. There were these young sort of paramilitary organizations called cadets. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, just a moment. I have some
Oh.
people raising their hands, so just a moment. Refoil and then Elaine. Refoil.
Yeah, cadet can mean a playboy. And so,
Ah.
Okay, so it makes sense. Okay. Elaine?
When I looked up, wait a minute, hold on, I just lost it. When I looked up net, it said elegantly, elegant.
That could be, sure,
So they
Yeah,
carry
but-
themselves elegantly.
sure.
Can be, but that is from the German. German net is nice. They're nice.
Nice,
Oh,
right.
nice. Oh, nicely. Okay.
Nice. It's from the German. It's the same word. Yeah. Fagel, yeah.
Yeah, I just looked up cadet also, and it says it can mean a pimp, a slang for procurer.
Okay. Okay, good.
Nor
Okay. Okay,
No,
Bob,
I'm-
go on.
nor oif meer is nebech as Azah Noit, Kevin Chabin geboren Dorfamoid.
Dorfsmoy.
Dorfamoid.
Dorfs.
Dorfs.
So alas for us, alas for me, it's difficult. I was born a city girl, not a city girl,
Oh,
a
village
village
girl.
girl,
A Dorfsmoid is a village
village
girl.
maid,
A country girl, yeah.
a
Okay.
country girl,
Country girl.
right? I forgot
Okay.
the song.
Thank you, Bob. Elaine, yes? Elaine?
Yeah. Alice, on the second line, nor Alice Cadet. Nor Alice Cadet. I couldn't figure out how Alice fits in.
Only cadet.
I think it's only cadets.
Nor is
All
only,
cadets.
nor is only, but what is?
Right.
Oh,
Only all cadets.
Okay, Morty.
I think is they only like anything that is related to cadets.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that the third line, I think, has a heavier tone. I would say when he says, is nebe chazan noit, is sadly such a pain.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Yeah. Alvin, can you read?
Yeah. Just a minute. Am I muted?
No, you're okay. We hear you loud and clear.
Ich bin unklar. Ich werde nicht müde. I cry and I know what club means.
Cares.
What?
To cares, to complain.
I cry and complain. I'm not tired. Keine hurt my vein it. And no one hears my crying.
Nobody cares.
Oifmir is azamid, azanoit. Ich bin geboren a Dorfsmoid. Kingdom has what means, what does noit mean?
You could just say, I'm so miserable.
Oh,
I'm so miserable.
I remain a country girl.
I was born a country girl.
Being geboren is I was born a country girl.
Oh, born. Okay, a country girl. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Alvin. Oh, nice picture.
Oh, that's
Okay, so
that's adorable.
it is adorable. Country girl. Okay, so there is no possibility of listening to it, so we will just, finish here with the song. Any comments? Anything about the song?
Why are we hearing it? I mean, why?
Why? Because the sound, it's very, very low. So.
No, I meant that I know why we're not hearing it. I just am curious why this was chosen. Maurice, do you have something?
Well, I try to find things that are different. And I often look at the blog, Itzik's Yiddish, the folk song, because he often has songs that are really obscure, and he attempts to explain what the origin is, if he can figure it out, or what its social context is. And I don't think we've heard a Yiddish song of a girl complaining that she's a village girl.
No, that's something new.
Something different. Although we have, years ago, I think we watched either all or part of that film, Grüne Felder.
Yeah.
Which takes place in the country, in a dorf. And these are
Yes.
Jews who are not
Art.
cityfied and they're not polished, they just work the land and pray. And I don't remember the exact how it goes, but I think some very young Talmud is passing by and they grab him
Right.
up to teach the
Teach.
people about religion, Yiddishkeit. And it has humor, it has music, it's a lot of fun, but I can't think of anything else that really takes place in the village.
I think that is very interesting also in this song. It reminds me of sort of the entrance of the modern world into the traditional world, the clash of civilization.
Yeah.
When it says that the city Jewish girls don't like anything that has to do with Judaism, or they don't want anything Jewish. It brings the modern world into the traditional Jewish environment.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Good, thank you. Julia, you want to say something, Julia?
Yes, as it happens, Mordechai Schechter wanted very much for his mother's work to be publicized, and by extension, so did Itzik Gottesman. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have publicized that song.
Right.
Okay.
There is a Itzik wrote a detailed account of his grandmother's life that's on the web, and I think if you just put in, I don't remember what you put in to get to it, but she had apparently a fairly unusual life in that here she was, this village girl in some tiny rural place in Bukovina. And he mentions the name, I think he mentions, and I had never heard of it, so it's not Chernovitz or, any of the big cities. And so she grew up, she was born when it was still Austrian. It was the Austrian Empire. So you had, Galicia, Bukovina, and all those. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Lifsh's mom was widowed relatively young, and she had 5 kids. So Lifsha was one of the 5 kids. And before World War One, she was like 12 or 13. She came to America all by herself, which is really, incredible.
Amazing.
Must have been pretty rare, I think.
Yeah.
And so she came to America, and I think she worked, I'm guessing, on the Lower East Side, and eventually she went back to Bukovina.
Yes.
And she survived World War II in Bukovina.
Do we know how?
Wow.
Do we know how she survived the Holocaust?
I'm not sure.
That was the first thing that occurred to me when I saw that she didn't come till 1951.
Right. It's a pretty unusual story, and I think it's possible that either, because the Soviets were moving in, from the East, it's possible that she found refuge when the Soviets moved into, her part of Bukovina, and, and she survived with the Soviets. That's my only guess. I don't remember the details, but
people in the government, army, and etc. have a meeting on.
Okay,
Thank you.
My guess
Thank
would be that she was
Journal
lucky.
could listen in to their conference.
Just a moment, I'll mute.
I got it.
Okay, Steve, yes, please.
No, I just, I mean, what I've seen in my parents' life and in the lives of many of the survivors that I've been in contact with over the years, everybody survived because they were lucky. And that's really it. There's, you did one thing one day.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and everything was great, and you do the same thing tomorrow.
Sure.
And you meet the wrong guy.
Right.
It's just
Others.
there's just been no other way that
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. True. Okay, so let's move to finish the article about Yiddish in Texas. But before we start reading it, we stopped when David Katz, our David Katz, that usually joins us towards the end of the session because he's working, is talking about his teacher, who was also David Katz, and is, you know, what he's doing in Dallas. But concerning David Katz, the teacher, Julia has a story for us. So Julia, please.
Okay. Yes, at the time I was in Oxford, David Katz was head of that whole thing before he went to Vilna. And he would kind of walk around to all the classes and he would call all the students, mein Kind. Believe me, none of us were the age of kinder at the time. But also, to me, the most wonderful teacher was Dovbed Bear Curler, who is still around. He's now at Indiana University, which has quite, as you probably know, quite a Jewish studies program. And Dov Bear had a very, he was teaching the beginners class, which obviously I was in. And for our final, he told us that he didn't want us to write anything that we might learn in his class, but he wanted to write something in Yiddish that had something to do with the rest of our lives. And so at that time, I was taking a Shakespeare class. So I wrote something in the play, Troilus and Cressida, which in Yiddish, and he said, I've never heard anything like that before. He was very, very kind about it. Anyway, Dov Bear was a wonderful teacher, and I see things about him on Facebook from time to time. And I knew his wife slightly. Her name was Didi, and I believe that beautiful child that we see, I think that is his granddaughter. Anyway, he is a wonderful teacher, and I certainly hope that at one time we would get him here. Also in that class, you all might know Roberta Newman.
Sure.
Was in that class, and she has written a book since then on Yiddish script, and she came to the Yiddish our book and arts fair 1 year ago, and Barbara and Susan heard her when she came to the IABC program in Florida, I think you said it was.
Right. Maurice too. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, and so you all heard her. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
Anyway.
Julia. Thank you very much for sharing. Thanks.
Well.
So let's finish.
No, can I just, I
Yes,
have,
yes.
during COVID, I'm sure it had to be during COVID, I took great advantage of all the Zoom programs that were put on by every organization and whatever. And I saw a series of lectures in South Africa that David Katz from Lithuania gave. And he was really a character. He was really a character. I mean, enough so that, you know, I really remembered him. And when I saw that Houston has a David Katz, I thought it might be the same one. I don't know. Is he still in Lithuania, or anybody know?
I think he might be.
Back in New York.
No, he's in Wales now.
He
Oh,
goes around
Because he was
a lot.
he was the head of the Jewish studies at the
He was the
university.
head of the Yiddish summer program in Oxford.
In
Then he
Oxford.
moved it to Vilnius when that became possible, because he really believed in, Vilna as Yerushalayim Delita, and the program operated in Vilnius for about 10 years. I spent a summer there.
Do you remember what year he was there?
He left about 3 or 4 years ago for political reasons. He was you can go on his website and read about this. You know, he's got lots and lots and lots of stuff posted. He was very critical of the Lithuanian government's attempts at what he calls Holocaust obfuscation.
Yeah.
And the program shut down kind of all of a sudden, and no one seemed to know what happened to it, but he left Lithuania and is now in Wales. He teaches occasionally for Worker Circle, and he is, whoever said he's a character, he is
I
a
did.
tremendous
He is a
character.
character.
I did.
If you have an opportunity,
He's a Casanova
to him,
also.
you
Really?
should take advantage of it.
Okay.
You bet. He's a
Okay,
linguist and a
I think we are
Casanova.
done with David Katz for now.
You must be a Casanova.
Casanova.
Yay. Very good. Very
Good,
good.
Maurice. Okay, so let's go back to the article and finish it. And yeah. Okay, so where are we? We are here.
Say one thing. I think he's Troim Handler's brother.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is.
What noise is that playing?
Okay, I think that's the most that I can do to enlarge it. Claire, can you start reading?
Wo soll ich anheben? Where
Ich schäb
should I start?
Naches. Ich
Where?
schäb Naches. Ich
Ich
schäb
schäb-
Naches von meinen Kindern und Einikel. Susan is not here today. It's a pity.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh, what happened? What's the geschehen? I don't see the beginning.
I know.
A little more. Can you go more to the
Yeah,
right?
click the X in the upper left-hand corner there. Click on the X.
Click on the
Oy.
X.
No, not that one.
No.
And the white panel. Click the X.
Yeah.
Okay.
the white
Click the
panel.
X in the white panel.
Okay, now.
Ja. Ich schäb Naches von meine Kinder und Einigles. In Houston verkehrt gefindt sich die lebendigste
Where is the cursor? Oh, there's the cursor. Okay.
Okay. Die lebendigste jiddische Zwiebel in Heintiken, Texas. So in Houston, on the other hand, or the opposite, gefindt sich die lebendigste, there you can find the most lebendig, no?
Lively.
Lively and in Yiddish surroundings or groups, yeah, in today's Texas. Der Yiddish Vinkl, yeah, too bad Susan is not here. Der Yiddish Vinkl, was trefft sich schon 45 Jahre lang bei Mitgliedern in der Heim. Wie euch in dem Kehille Center, dem J, okay. Where did we start here? Texas.
The Yiddish Vinkl.
Okay, the Yiddish Vinkl, which is found,
that is meeting.
which is showing long, which gets together for 45 years already by members, Mitglieder, in their home, in the home.
They used to.
In their home, yeah.
Wie euch, yeah, remember euch in dem Kehille Center der J. Okay, so that was where I remember, it was always in the JCC, yeah? The Kehille Center, the center of the, okay. Sind der COVID-Megefe, since the COVID, trefft man sich jeden Dienstag früh morgen auf
Zoom. Okay. Since the COVID, we get together every Tuesday morning on Zoom. Das digitale Treffort hat hereingezogen neue Mitglieder von Kentucky bis Paris. Okay, that's good.
That's you, Rafael. Paris. She's not here today from Paris. Yeah.
Can you translate?
Okay, this digitale Treffort. Okay, this meeting, this digital meeting has brought in, reingezogen, new members from Kentucky until Paris.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, just before you go on, Claire, I wanted to talk to you about, you didn't know about the lessons that your husband is giving in Yiddish. Is he still giving it?
Right now, I'm just giving a lesson to a small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
They started as beginners, and I'm impressed how they have gone very far, very far.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice. But the writer, he didn't know about your group. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Go on.
By far.
Ein Moment, wenn man sagt COVID, Magoffa, was meint Magoffa?
Epidemic.
Gefe. It's an epidemic.
Epidemic.
It's an epidemic.
Ah.
Plague.
A plague. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better translation. A plague.
A plague,
Yeah,
yes.
plague. Yeah.
So, can you
Okay.
continue, Claire?
Oh, okay. Dem 4. Februar, on the 4th of February, seien beigewen 30 Menschen. There were 30 people, meistens pensioniert. Most of them when
Retired.
you retired, right? Was haben Zeit betog, and have time, free time during the day. Koidem haben mir sich zugehört zu singlich. At the beginning, we used to listen to songs, und jeder einer hat übergesetzt a paar Schures, and each one translated a few sentences auf English, to English.
Sentences.
Right. Yes, Schures. Mit Gelächter.
Schures is lines.
Mit
Okay, go on.
Gelächter. Makur, was ist das?
Mikoye.
Mikoye. Die grobe unzuhörnischen. Okay, I don't know what this is. With laughter, mit Gelächter.
Yeah, because of.
Because of the grobe, was? Unzuhörnischen. I don't know.
Unzuhörnisch is insinuations. And grobe,
okay. Grobe is
racy. I think racy.
Yeah.
I think racy.
Yeah. All right. In der zweiten Hälfte hat man gelesen zusammen a text. In the second part, hat man, so we read together a text.
Does it sound familiar to you? What is writing?
It does.
Okay, go on.
Okay. Bald noch der präsidentische Einschwärung. Right after the president's, when he was
Inaugurated.
sworn in.
On.
You're right. Okay. Hat sich beschäftigt. No,
Bashevis, yeah.
Okay.
Bashevises.
Chelemer Mainse. So, yeah, Bashevis singer, a story about the Chelemer. Bavisen Vigor Actuel. Sounded pretty up to date.
Yeah.
Current.
Current. Okay.
Well, is what the way they say current or you know what's going on right now in French.
Ein Freu hat verteidigt das Wort Gesetz mit exekutiver Befehl.
And
One
we know who it
woman-
is. We know who it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
One lady translated the word Gesetz, law, mit exekutiver Befehl. Oh, a presidential, what do you call that?
Executive order.
Yeah, executive order.
Executive order, right.
That was a good one, Karen.
I couldn't help. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I know. There are something that
Karen made the news.
Yeah, she made the news.
Now I'm
Red sich, okay, red sich bei die Treffungen auf Englisch. Speaking, they talk at this meeting in English, aber me versteht Yiddish auf a hohen Niveau. However, we understand Yiddish at a high level.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you. Yes, Elaine?
Okay.
What does niveau mean?
Level.
Level?
Yes.
Or standard.
Oh,
It's
standard.
French.
Yes.
It's a French word, niveau.
What
Hohen
does,
Elaine?
Niveau.
what does gazettes mean? I missed it.
Law.
Law.
A law.
Law. L-A-W.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, Barbara, please.
Okay. Der Yiddish Vinkl arrangiert zwei kassetedicke Unternehmungen a Jahr. So the Yiddish Vinkl arranges two routine or regular events a year, undertakings a year. Dritten Seder mit an eigener Haggadah, a third Seder with their own Haggadah, und a Verleihung lekovid Shalom Aleichem Yortzeit, and a reading in honor of Shalom Aleicham's Yortzeit. Ich habe gebeten an interview by ein Organisiertasche. I requested an interview with one of the organizers, Beverly Suffian, und bald verstanden als Organisieren dem Yiddish Vinkl is a collective Uvde.
Avoide.
What is it?
No.
Avoide. Avoda.
No, here it's
Avodah.
Uvda.
Work.
It's not
An
Avodah.
avodah. Oh, okay. An avodah. Thank you.
But here it's Uvda.
Yeah,
Uvda is something
Not
else.
avodah, it's uvda.
Uvda. Uvda is something else.
So I think it
Yeah.
might, what does that mean?
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Fact.
Uvda is a fact.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go on, and soon I learned that the organization of the Yiddish Vinkl is a collective task. That's how I
Exactly.
translate.
A collective task.
Yes.
But I thought avodah meant work. Isn't that a Hebrew?
No, it's
But
not
it's not
No, it's a
avodah.
fact.
Thank you.
F-A-C-T.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Und a matriarch. And a matriarch is a group.
Yeah.
All right.
And the fan.
Nicht weniger wie 6 Freuen haben sich bei Wissen auf Zoom interview, and no fewer than 6 women appeared on the Zoom interview. Hagam, as I was saying, Hagam,
Yes.
although Hagam,
Yes.
Männer wie der Übersetzer Maurice Wolfa spielen euch zentrale roles. But men like Maurice, the translator Maurice Wolfa, play central roles, significant roles. Is clear as Freuen führen das Rädel, but it's clear that the women drive the wheel.
The show.
Seltenheit.
Als Seltenheit zum Bedeuren in der Yiddish Welt. Is this a unique? What does this mean? A
Yeah.
unique?
That's it. An unusual occurrence.
Yeah, selten,
A rarity.
unusual.
Yeah,
Rarity.
a rarity to occur in the Yiddish world.
Okay.
Zum Bedeuren is unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Not
yeah.
zum Bedeuren.
A rarity, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Barbara.
Okay,
Thank you. Michael Fiesman, you are the only Michael today, so
Sure.
please.
Okay. Es sind ein bloß ein Teil von die immerhort der Geschichte von Houston or Yiddish. There are only a few here are only a few of the mothers, the founders in the history of Houston Yiddish. Frieda Wiener, Zichron Livracha, 1888 bis 1990. Frieda Wiener, may she rest in peace, 1888 to 1990. Geborene in Ukraine. Born in the Ukraine, gewohnt in Texas since 1915, lived in Texas since 1915, active in Arbeiterring, very active in the worker circle, zusammen mit Henrietta Bell, together with Henrietta Bell, geboren in 1922, who was born in 1922, hierzulange Jordan again.
ייבדל לחיים ארוכים.
Hierzulange Jordan, I'm not sure about that.
ייבדל לחיים ארוכים. Yeah, that's what we say.
May she live a long time?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So may she live a long time. Zu 90 Jahren hat Wiener noch als angeführt mit Avochiker Yiddish Stunde. Even when she was 90 years old, she still continued to carry on with a weekly Jewish hour. In die Sof 70er Jahren, Susan Gantz, at the end of the 70s, Susan Gantz demolt an etwas und 40-jährige Volkssingerin, at that time a 40-something folk singer, geworden Winners Chassida und mit gegründet dem Yiddish Vinkl. She became Chassida, a co-worker, but it's a Chassid is someone, a co-religionist.
A protege.
A
Follower,
a follower, I would say.
Yes, follower.
And together they founded the Yiddish Corner. Mit 20 Jahren später, 20 years later, hat Barbara Goldstein lanciert das neues Blättel auf dem Bayou. 20 years later, Barbara Goldstein launched used
moet dat
the
nee, nou, oké,
newsletter
ciao.
on the Bayou was geschickt ad hayom regelmäßig durch Blitzpost that continues to be sent even to this day regularly through email. When Susan Gans hat sich überzeugen können, Florida, when Susan Gans moved to Florida, hat Mina Grower, Forscherin von anarchism, a researcher into anarchism. The Yorshut dos Acharius, she inherited the responsibility. Sie führt noch on mit die Treffungen jeden Dienstag, and she continues with the meetings every Tuesday.
Okay, just another line.
Ich schäb Naches von meinen Kindern und einiglich hat Susan ganz gefällt. Susan got a lot of pleasure from all the Naches, Naches, I'm not sure, pleasure that she gets from her children and grandchildren. Is there a better word for Naches? It's pleasure, but there's something more than pleasure.
It's more than pleasure. Yeah, I know. It's more than pleasure. I see that Refoil raised his hand.
Pride.
So maybe
Pride, I think. Yes,
Pride. Pride. Like
Refoil,
really.
yes.
Yeah, I wanted to mention about Lange Jahren or längere Jahren, which we had earlier about 5 lines from the bottom. One uses that expression when one has mentioned in the same breath someone who has died and someone who is still alive. And so you want to make a distinction. And for the person who's still alive, you say oder im längere Jahren. Also, if you've made a mistake, I heard that someone or other has died. Oh no, he's still alive. Im längere Jahren. So it's used as a way of undoing what could be taken as a curse.
Okay. So in Hebrew we say ibadel le.
In Yiddish we used to say ich red nicht von dir, ich red von der Wand.
Well, that's a somewhat different one, but yes. Now, in the Hebrew one, is that used in the same context then to distinguish?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So it's most likely a calque, right, from Yiddish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same. We use it the same thing. Ibadel le. So.
Say it again in Hebrew, Mina.
Ibadel le. Ibadel lechaim arukim. So. And Refoel, how would you say naches? Because.
Well, it is pleasure, but it's derived pleasure, derived from someone you like doing something well. So it's derived pleasure. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Vinkl, and then Henrietta. Vinkl?
Yeah, no, I was really interested. There's a Rabbi Stein in Walnut Creek. He's a Yiddishist, and he talked about that word naches years ago, and it really stuck in my mind. You know, it does mean all the things we said, derived pleasure and pride, but the root of it is nach, to relax, to rest. And so he was saying, you know, when your children finally succeed, you can finally relax. And that's the kind of naches you get from successful children.
A Jewish parents never relax.
but that's
never. Until my son will get the Nobel Prize, I'm not relaxing.
Okay. You know the word in Hebrew, menuach, to rest. To relax.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's such a
Thank you.
stressful thing being a parent.
Yeah. Okay, Henrietta.
Raphael, when is it appropriate to say of lange Jahren?
I've not heard that expression by itself. Af lange Jahren?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Als men werd älter, zogt meer of younger, of alt Jahren.
Say after zu lange Jahren. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in other words,
I interpret it as to live longer.
Sorry, there were two people at once. I couldn't hear what either of you were saying.
Oh, sorry.
Can you say it again?
Henrietta, say it again.
Of lange Jahren, to live longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when do you say it?
That's what we don't know.
So you would say it when someone else has perhaps passed away and has had shorter years.
No. When you celebrate a birthday anniversary, sucht man auf young, sucht man dort. Not when you die.
Yeah, it's sort of like many more.
To continue with long years.
Okay, so you should celebrate for a long
Yes.
time. Yes.
Wouldn't it be like bis 120?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, please.
Comparable to that?
I'm not sure.
102 is enough already.
Yes.
No. Okay. Okay, now I see that other people raise their hand. So Marna and then Karen. Marna, please.
Yeah, I had a question about a word, but I can't see it now. Can you scroll
Maybe
it back?
on the
Lena?
other side here.
Yeah, Yiddish Stunde. Stunde?
The Yiddish hour.
Stunde.
Stunde, hour.
H-O-U-R.
That's German.
It's German.
Okay,
German
thanks.
word. Stunde.
It's
Thank you.
German. Okay. Karen, please.
In the English Yiddish dictionary, it says that auf langer Jahren means for many years to come.
Okay, so like many more, like we say, yeah, and many more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay, so let's continue. Hoffnung für der Zukunft. Rochelle, please.
Hoffnung für der Zukunft. Kidei Mimashich zu sein, die goldene Kate, halten gewisse jiddische Aktivisten da als die Swives wird dürfen organisieren mehr Aktivitäten Mechutz die normale Arbeiterschuhen, Arbeiterschuhen, kidei zuzuziehen mehr Menschen. Okay. Mimamish well, to translate the whole thing, in order to have the golden chain.
Please, the title.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hoffnung für der Zukunft. A hope for the future. In order to pull the golden chain, which means to go from generation to generation, halten gewisse jiddische Aktivisten da as the Jewish activists hold or believe that the Svive wird darfen organisieren, that the community will have to organize more activities than the normal Yiddish hour.
Outside.
Oh, outside of the normal Yiddish hour, in order to attract more people. Punkt der Fahr hat sich der Yiddish Vinkl ungeheuben. And that's exactly why the Yiddish Vinkl started. Die
Pensionierte.
Die Pensionierte in Friede Weiners. Yiddish Stunde.
It all over again.
I don't know, I'm not getting it.
Retired persons. Pensionierte.
Pensioniert in Friede Weines Yiddish Stunde. In Friede Weinisches Jewish Hour. Pflegen sich treffen Montag by Tag. They used to meet Monday during the day, wenn das Jungwerk is gewesen bei der Arbeit, when the young people were still at work. Hat der hat der Houstone Michael Moore. So the Houston, the person, Michael Moore from Houston, hein Sheiches Nitzu Filmongrafen. I don't understand that.
No relative of the
Oh,
film,
no, well,
of the
of the person
filmmaker.
who makes the films.
רק
Okay.
רגע, אני בשיעור ליידיש, אני אסגור את זה, רק רגע.
Okay. Initiiert an Abendprogramm mit Lektions und Filmweisungen unter dem Namen Yiddish by Nacht. So he started a film showing with
He started an oven program.
an evening program showing films.
Showing films and also lectures and also
Lectures with the name Yiddish by Nacht, Yiddish at night. Die Abend hat man aber zu bedeuern abgestellt case COVID. Very sadly, it stopped. Abgestellt base COVID.
During COVID.
Oh, during COVID.
They had to stop it during COVID, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, but somebody just came in to fix a leak.
Okay, no problem. Go. Thank you, Rochelle. Okay.
What's D-O?
D-O and those evenings. Those evenings, the grammar of it, I don't know. But I know the translation, but not the grammar. If someone can do the grammar of D-O, please, Rafael.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see this as an intensive. You could just say die Abenden, but then you can't distinguish between the evenings and these evenings. So to emphasize that it's die Abenden, you can add this You have also atada, right here, ata, this very thing. And so the is a suffix which means the very. So die Abenden, these very evenings.
Thank you. Okay, so Vinkl, go on. Vinkl?
Die jüngste Frau beim Interview, the youngest woman in the interview, Dina Yudovich Katz. Dina Yudovich Katz.
Dana.
How do you say it? Dana?
Dana, that's her name. Her name is Dana.
Okay. Dana Katz is der Zion geboren in Houston. She was brought up in Houston. Ihre Eltern, her parents, von der Stadt Mexico, her parents from the nation of Mexico?
The country.
City.
The state of Mexico.
But is it a state? Okay. Hoben Goret, Stai Spanish, Stai Yiddish. In their home. Her parents spoke both Spanish and Yiddish in their home. Katz bringt mit ihrer Kinder zu die Internehmungen. Katz brought her children with her to the events.
Yes.
Letztens is sie Oichet geworden a Yiddish Lehrerin für Zennerlingen durch der Programm Kila High. Okay, so currently she is a teacher of teenagers through a program called Community Lives. Take interessant, was Hagam der Arbeitering is showing von lang nicht active in Houston. It's really interesting that although the workers' circle is or has been active for a real long time in Houston,
No, it has not been active for a long time. Nicht aktiv.
Okay, has not been active for a very long time. Gefindt sich jetzt in der Stadt. Currently, there exists in the state, or the city, 70 Jahr später, 70 years later, Anaya noch Mittag Schule. A new
Afternoon.
A new afternoon Schule. School? A new afternoon
School. Go finish it.
Noch an interview, after the interview, hat mir Barbara Goldstein abgeschickt a Zugab Blitzbrief. Barbara Goldstein sent an additional email, a supplementary email. In Houston haben wir a groß Mazel. In Houston, we have a huge amount of luck. Bemeshech von etliche Deures haben Menschen übergenommen, die letztes Kadei zu versprechen, das Wissen wegen jiddischer Sprach in Kultur. During the last several generations, or during these several generations, people have taken the reins in order to spread knowledge about Yiddish language and culture. Unsere Hoffnung von der Zukunft, our hope for the future, liegt bei Dana Judovich Katzen in die Hand. Our future lies in the hands of Dana Judovich Katz.
Thank you. Thank you. No, yeah, no pressure on Dana. So yeah, so that's it. That's the article that was published about, Yiddish in Texas and our group. So
what a beautiful article.
Yeah.
I think it's just beautiful.
Minna, when was it published?
Last week, I think.
It was published.
Oh, really, really recently. Wow.
March 4.
Oh, it was great. It's great.
March 4.
Really enjoyed, learning about the history of the group. Great.
Okay. Yes, Bob.
I think this will end up in the archives at the University of Houston for the Yiddish Vinkl of Houston. There should be an archive set aside with Bush or other people, other presidential stuff.
Okay.
This
We
is
will let them know.
really important.
Yeah.
Well, it's at Rice University. They have an archive at Rice, a Houston archive, and I'm pretty sure we're in there. Barbara will know.
They have a musical archive there for music?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh.
And Maurice might know something too about it, yeah.
Yes, Louisa?
So
Louisa?
who is the author of this article? And
the author is Jack Schneider. He lives in Berlin, but he writes for the forward. And he joined us for one session to see what we are doing.
Yeah,
and then we had a Zoom meeting with him, and he asked us questions about, about the history of the Vinkl, about what we are doing, about the future. So that's what I know about him.
He was in Austin. He was in Austin with Itzhak Gottesman looking into this.
So this article I thought that the forward was not printing anything in Yiddish anymore, that it was only English.
Online, it
definitely does.
They
Online,
have a section
not on
for
paper.
Online.
Can you repeat that?
Online. You can read it in Yiddish online, but
I
not,
see.
you can't buy it. It
So
doesn't-
how do you access it online?
Yeah,
Just put
just
the
the
forward.
forward.
You have to
Forward.
pay,
Yeah.
you have to join the forwards. You pay a small fee. I think it's like
Wow.
$50 or
No,
$60.
No,
Steve,
no,
Steve.
It's free.
No,
it's
it's
free.
free, Steve. I didn't pay anything.
It's
Well, I
free.
pay.
It's free. You can read. It's no
Well,
problem. Yeah,
So
and
what,
if you,
should
but
make a
they, I
donation.
mean, they really want you to donate. I mean, it's
yeah,
free, but
exactly. Yeah.
please donate.
Yes.
What
So,
do
so
you
I donate
enter?
from
What do you have to enter to access it online?
Probably just
forward
Go to the
Yiddish.
forwards website and you'll see a link there for the Yiddish paper. I don't think
Yes.
they publish the way the forward publishes, which is, adding putting out a complete paper. I think they just add stories as they get
Yes.
them.
And sometimes videos as well. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so what do you just put in on Google? What do you key
Just
in?
put the Jewish forward or the Jewish
Yiddish.
Daily Forward.
Oh, I see. You get the whole paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta mute myself.
They may have gone to a subscription. They're trying to survive. They may have gone to a subscription,
They are
kind of-
heavily endowed, Bob, now.
What's that?
Oh,
They are endowed.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're always asking for money,
Oh, of
so I'm not
course.
sure how
Of
endowed.
course, but they are endowed.
Yeah.
Rehoel put the link in the chat.
It's very
Okay.
Jewish.
Now, they ask for
Okay.
money every
Money.
day.
Yeah, they ask for money. Well, you can give them, you cannot give them. It's
No,
up
no,
to you.
no. I think I think they do have a subscription kind of system now.
Yeah. Louisa?
Yeah, so did you say that this writer is in Berlin, or did somebody say he's in Austria?
Berlin.
In Berlin.
Yes, he lives in Berlin.
He visited Texas to do the research for the article.
Really?
But he lives in Berlin. Yeah.
Wow, how impressive.
Can you repeat? Can you repeat his name?
Jack Schneider.
All right.
So I wanted to say I'm one of the people that asked to read this article because one, I wanted to know what it said and I wanted to hear what people would say about it. But also I was afraid, since I can't read the forwards, I was afraid current people who write in Yiddish use a lot of Englishisms. And I'm very proud he doesn't. He really uses common Yiddish words. He doesn't go to Englishisms unless there really, really is no substitute. So I'm glad to find out that that's how Yiddish is being used now. It was really nice to see.
Yeah.
Okay. David Katz, you're here, and we read
yeah.
about it.
You helped to land. Yeah, I read the article. Yes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we read about you, and since you're here, I'm sorry. Do you have to add anything about what is going on in Dallas?
Well, I do have a small group of people, really impressive people I work with. Do you know the Legacy Center, Midtown? It's kind of a retirement, active senior living place. And what's really impressive, the seniors that I work with there, we do like a schmooze show, conversation hour. They remember a lot of Yiddish. They can sing the songs. Because, a lot of people feel like, I don't remember any Yiddish from when I was younger, but if I bring a song, they can sing along. They remember the words, so it's very important.
Well, do you know there's it's a psychological, I guess, phenomenon that people remember songs longer than they remember actual words and sentences.
Words and stuff. Yeah, so that's a really sticky, permanent part of their Yiddish memory.
When my mother was in her 90s and not as coherent, she was still singing songs all the time. Yeah. That was a lot of communication. In fact, she almost sang it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you have other activities besides this in Dallas?
Well, I tried with some success to start other things, but not like the like you read in the article about the Kahila High. They have some, maybe potentially an after-school program where students can learn about Yiddish, but I have not been able to really generate any interest like that in Dallas. I would I wish we had something similar to that maybe in Dallas. But it's a little bit, we have, I just live just down the block from the Orthodox schools, but here in Dallas, but they have no interest in, Yiddish literature or language as a course taught by me. Because I think perhaps because I'm not Orthodox, but I don't know.
So I don't know my geography too well, but I read about the ships that came in from Europe to the Gulf of Mexico. So is Houston, was it in the story? Yeah. So is Houston closer to the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah.
1 hour drive.
Yes.
Okay, so that would really make sense for all the history.
Yeah.
I guess one thing to add to the history I thought was remarkable, I didn't think would be the case, is I've worked with a few families in Texas, and small town Texas, you find Yiddish, because when Jewish people settled small towns in Texas, they write letters to their other family in the big cities like Dallas or Houston. So I've seen letters from small towns in Texas written in Yiddish, translated for people. So Yiddish is out there, even in the small towns.
So since we are talking, there is not a lot of time, so we won't start gerade today. But since we are already talking about Yiddish in places, so any of you, can you talk about Yiddish in your community, like Morty in Toronto, Rafael in Kentucky? Can someone, yeah, Rafael, please.
Yeah, in Lexington, there are very few who speak Yiddish. There's me and my kids. But there was an older man in the show. I always spoke to him in Yiddish. He died at the age of 103 a few years ago. But I do have a small group. Some of the members are local. And we used to meet in my office, but starting with COVID, we started meeting on Zoom, and we still do. And there are people now from around the world, but not very many, who come to my group. My group reads, but doesn't translate, but we talk about the grammar. And we've been reading Eisenbahngeschichtes at the moment of Shalom Aleichem. So it's at a somewhat higher level. But there's that's the status, I guess, of Yiddish in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
In all of Kentucky, baby.
No, I would say Louisville, there'd be more people who
Oh,
speak Yiddish. Louisville's a bigger city with more Jews.
okay.
Okay.
In Toronto, being probably younger in the sense of later comers to Canada than to the US, there's lots of people who speak Yiddish, although not at the younger people. There are a couple of schools that teach Yiddish. One of them is called the Bialik School. They teach Yiddish. And I find that at least in my shul, there are quite a few people, and not necessarily older people, but also younger, who do speak Yiddish. We have several groups that on Zoom that do Yiddish. I belong to one that's called the Leyenkreis. We are reading right now stories by Katia Molodowski. And we meet only once a week, once a month for an hour and a half. And like Refoil's group, we read only in Yiddish. We don't translate unless there are specific words that somebody doesn't understand. But there are some other groups that are maybe not as advanced as our group, but there are quite a few. And yeah, there's quite a bit of Yiddish activity in Toronto. Of course, it's a very large community, over 200,000 people. So I think
and
that's
Montreal, and also Montreal.
Yeah, I was gonna say Montreal.
Montreal has got a lot.
I think
but a lot of people from Montreal have moved to Toronto because of the anti-Semitism in Quebec, especially a few years ago. Although Canada nowadays is not not being the greatest environment for Jews that you would think.
No
Michael,
place is.
just a moment. Michael, are you part of these groups? Michael Fisman.
Yeah.
Are you part of these groups? Do you know this group in Toronto?
I don't know the group in Toronto, but there is a Yiddish teacher, and I join her group on Sundays. But I was curious about the American experience. I come from a little village in South Africa, and we had a minion of Jews there who were all immigrants and all spoke Yiddish. And the reason they were all in this village is because it was easier for new immigrants to make a living in the country than in the big city. All their kids grew up and moved to the city, so that village is Judenrein now. I was wondering if there were similar experiences in the US.
I don't know, but maybe the people that raise their hands. So, Steve, what do you say, Steve? Yeah, you can play us a tune if you want.
No, he can't play you a tune if he wants. No, I live in a little shtetl in central New Jersey, was Habasach Yidden. And we have a group here that meets Wednesdays in the senior center. I'm the kind in the group, and I'm 74. It's a little schmooze, a little reading. Some people are not very adept, but people seem to be taking their time with them, and it's a really nice group. There's a lot of laughs, and it's amazing in a town of 15,000 people that we could have 20 or 25 people sometimes showing up for a group in the senior center. It costs me $20 though. I have to pay the annual fee, so I'm taking donations.
Okay. Okay. Bonnie.
Okay. So I live in what's called Center City, Philadelphia. It would be kind of the little Manhattan of Philadelphia. It's where all the theater is and lots of high rises. I live in a high rise across from a small park. And let's see, in fact, my brother gives tours, is one of his many avocations, and he gives tours of Jewish Philadelphia. And I actually live in that area. And there are many synagogues. There's a synagogue, the name has in stone is something of Jews in Vilnius. That was where people who came from Vilna, like my grandfather belonged to a lodge. I still don't remember the Yiddish name for it, but that was in South Philly. So there were definitely neighborhoods where Jews came. And I'm also close to the Delaware River, which is a port. And I can only assume my brother has the information where my grandparents entered, but I'm pretty sure that that's where a lot of Jews came. So, I'm walking distance from the Delaware River. So we don't, unfortunately, have much going on as far as Yiddishkeit. There is a Jewish school of learning. It's a college, and most people go as an after-school program, but they run all kinds of programs. And there is one woman who teaches Yiddish, and I don't know what's going to happen when she's gone, because she's been teaching Yiddish probably for about 30 years. And I first started taking classes when she started, she was teaching in a shul in Center City. But there's probably about 4 shuls just within walking distance of my house, and I belong to one of them. And but I joined, and I'll let Elaine tell you, but during COVID, I also was all over the place on the internet. And years before that, I had been to Yiddish New York for a week. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the highlights of my Yiddish career. Plus, I've been to Yiddish land from the Workers' Circle, mm-hmm. like many times. So I've been struggling learning Yiddish, and I came across a Zoom from a guy who I knew from Yiddish New York, and there were some people there who were from Allentown, and one of them is Elaine. So Allentown's about 60 miles from Philly, and it's not some place where people regularly go back and forth. But Philly is the large city. So my my synagogue.
Okay.
Tried to start a group, but hasn't happened yet. Why don't you let Elaine go and she can fill in?
Okay, but before Elaine, I want to hear Henrietta. Henrietta?
Oh, sure.
Thank you, Bonnie. Before, Henrietta.
You know, I was raised in the Arbitrary. And when I came to Houston, the Arbitrary was very strong. And we spoke Yiddish and had Yiddish lesson. It seems like my generation dropped the ball. Because when I was thinking now, when you asked the question about did I raise my children to speak Yiddish, I did not. I was too busy raising my children to speak Yiddish. On the one hand, I didn't have anyone to speak Yiddish with except my husband, because everybody was busy with their families. And so I think that my generation, dropped the ball, and it's sad. I'm very happy that Donna has picked it up and is going forward with Yiddish in Houston. And of course, we have a great, large Chabad here. So Yiddish is flourishing in Houston through Chabad.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Henrietta. Elaine, and then Louisa. Elaine.
Yeah, so I knew about Yiddish and we have a surprising, considering the size of the city, and the size of the Jewish community, there's been a Yiddish group going in various incarnations for a long time. I was always interested, but I was never able to get involved because of the scheduling and whatever. And then along came COVID, and it wound up that even though it was on a day that wasn't, it was a day that I was teaching, and I was teaching Hebrew school, and I was never able to get there. But on COVID, I was teaching from home, so it was very easy to end at 3:30 and then teach my class at 4 o'clock. And we have two weekly, a club and a class. So the club, it's pretty much on a beginner's level. The club is people who don't read the Oisius, but everybody just loves. We do theme topic talks. We start off with anybody who prepares. We have a topic, but if you don't like the topic, you can do anything you want. And we start off every session on Monday. It's Monday afternoons. We start off with topic talks, whoever prepares. And then we do 2 or 3 or more songs.
But you do it in Yiddish or in English?
The Temeredes are Yiddish.
Okay.
And then the woman who, okay, so that's I'll tell you what we do, and then I'll tell you about the woman who's responsible for. So we do that on Mondays, and then we do 2 or 3 songs. We read them in Yiddish with grammar and translation and whatever, and then we listen to them, and that's what we do. In the class, we have 5 people, some of whom also come to the club, some who don't. And we are using in Einem the textbook that was the new textbook that was developed by the Yiddish Book Center, which is really very good. Our progress through the book is very, very slow. I would say tortuously, not tortuously, but tortuously slow. But we have a very small group. So the person responsible for all this is an exceedingly dynamic woman, whose father was a linguist. He spoke 50 languages, over 50 languages, and she knows a little Russian and a little this, and that, and she's very, very diligent. I mean, she is just the, I don't know when she sleeps. I really don't.
I was just going to say a PS. We don't know when she sleeps.
We don't know
She's
when she sleeps,
incredible.
but she is just superb and so enthusiastic and so, vibrant. And because of Zoom, we now have, and what happened was after COVID, she really preferred doing it on Zoom, number one, because there are people like Basia, like Bonnie, who wouldn't be able to come if we went back. It used to meet at the JCC, but we've got a lot of people from St. Louis. I don't remember how they found us, but they did. We got people from St. Louis, including one man who's not Jewish, who learned Yiddish when he was roommates in the army with a Yiddish speaking friend who taught him Yiddish. At one point, he knew how to read it, but he doesn't know that anymore. But he also knows Dutch. He lived in Holland. Very interesting guy. And it's just a very, dynamic. Oh, we have people from Canada. We have somebody from, I don't know, California. I don't know, but all over.
Yeah, California is a different state in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then we have people, we have snowbirds. So there are people in Florida now, but they'll be, in New York. And it's a very, it's a great environment. We don't do anything. Basi, we took it on the road. We were talking about taking it on the road, there's an independent living place that's got a lot of Jews there who probably speak Yiddish, but a lot of us are finding that we actually know more Yiddish than we thought we know. Because we remember from our childhood that was buried very deeply. Very good.
And the
Thank you.
people in Allentown will know each other, but I've become friendly with them. And one of the women had a little party for me when I came in for a visit.
Yeah, Basi came with her brother.
Yeah, my brother Joe, he's the driver, and then Jeannie and her husband came into Philly. So there's a very, very close relationship, even though for me it's at a distance. But
nice. Thank you.
Really terrific.
Thank you, Maurice. Maurice, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say two things. When I was a kid, after the war in the 1950s, early 60s, I went to two different summer camps. One was a Zionist camp, was a Hashem Hatzair camp, and one was a Bundist camp. It was called Hemshech.
Yes.
At Hemshech and the Bundist, I got to know a lot of kids from Philadelphia, and those kids they came from Yiddishist homes. I don't know if they were active in the Arbeiterring in Philadelphia, or if their parents were just recent refugees.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of an Arbeiterring in Philly, but it could have existed, but not in the neighborhood where I grew up, which was also Jewish.
Oh, right. Maybe it wasn't in your neighborhood, but
it might have been. I think it might have been in somewhere in the outskirts or suburbs. I've heard glimmers, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was one up in the Northeast.
Yeah,
that's where I grew up.
Yeah, but
okay, and the other
my
thing,
cousins went to it.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it was Arbeitering. I think it was Shalom Aleichem.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was my sister.
They put out a wonderful secular Haggadah.
Yes, and I sent you. Haverford College is doing a whole thing on the Shalom Aleichem Club of Philadelphia.
Yeah, and by the way, I go there all the time to the Haverford.
Oh, it's coming up. But
yeah,
in the Jewish in the museum in Philly, I don't know what you call it, the Jewish Museum in Philly. There's a whole piece on Jewish camps, and Hemshech is one of them.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's, by the way, it's about 3 blocks from my house.
Is Maurice pictures there? Did you see the Maurice pictures?
My camp is in there too, but all the Jewish camps, it's a fabulous museum. Fabulous.
Okay, so
trying to get it into the Smithsonian enterprise.
If someone will let you.
My father wouldn't let me go to any of those camps. I never went, and that's why I never learned to read or write Yiddish, because they weren't from.
Right.
So,
Okay, so Maurice was in the middle of speaking and we interrupted him, so please.
Right. The other thing was when we were reading the story and he was talking about the founding mothers of the Houston Vinkl, he used the word imis, imahot. And I saw that word, and this is only the second time I've ever seen that word. And it took me a while to remember because there's a song that we have listened to.
There's
Yeah,
an
got us, yeah.
there's
Right.
an the Ovis.
Right.
Muasapru.
So,
Muasapru, yeah.
right. Muasapru. Who knows? And then it's numerical. Finif
Yes,
zen
feels and in the
chabushim,
image.
fears and in the imis,
Imis,
eyes and in the
And the
others. And
Ovis.
imis, the founding mothers.
Mhm.
And this was the second time I've ever seen that word used. That's all.
Okay, so Louisa held the hand for a long time, so now please, Louisa.
Thank you. I wanted to mention David was talking about Dallas and the fact that he was making efforts to put together a group, and I believe that the group Kehila High, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the Kehila High in Houston is an initiative of several, through probably the whole community, through several temples, to attract the people who are post bar or bat mitzvah, so that they come on a Wednesday night and they have a gathering place. And I think that that's how it's structured. I used to see them in Beit Yeshurun years ago, but I would recommend, I don't know if David is still here, but
David is still here.
I'm here.
But if my recommendation would be to find out whether,
Yes.
I don't know how many temples with kids that are past bar bat mitzvah that might be interested in doing a community-wide gathering,
Correct.
so that it becomes half social, half Jewish learning, and then within that context of a contemporary opening to attract. I'm saying this because I was teaching Hebrew at Rice University to these post-bar bat mitzvah kids who were kind of lost, right? They're kind of lost. And then if you create a structure like that, but it needs to be, you need to have a community support, so that it maybe through the federation to say to them, look, we need to show them about Jewish values, who we are, especially in this day and age with everything that is going on. So make a proposal to create, say, a Wednesday night, like they do in Beit Yeshurun, and then involve all the post-bar bat mitzvah kids, so that they come to, I don't know the structure of Kehila High, but you can find out from Dana Yudovich, but maybe you can replicate something like that.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting thing to replicate. I don't know how Houston Jewish community is structured, but Dallas is really spread out. So an issue I faced before is, well, no one wants to drive 20 miles.
Oh, I see.
You see, like, how do you get us all together? That's an issue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they know the answer at Kehila High. So that logistics.
Right, but perhaps through maybe the Jewish Federation, I mean the Jewish Community Center or something like that, so that you accomplish several goals by doing that. You're gathering the Jewish kids and teaching them about Jewish culture, among other courses that have to do with things that are relevant today, because that's the key. Because the problem, I also wanted to reassure Henrietta when Henrietta was saying we dropped the ball.
Henrietta is not, I don't see her anymore, so.
Okay, well,
maybe next time, yeah. I don't see her.
These are normal phenomena, because Yiddish is not the native language of this generation. The native language of this generation of this particular group is a different one from Yiddish, and that's why the language gets lost.
But it's not even the native language of their parents.
In general,
that's right.
It's not the native language of their parents, but the kids really want to learn. Donna's having a lot of success.
But
They're
but
very
but, but
excited, she
Beverly,
tells.
it is automatic in the evolution of a heritage language,
Right,
that the third generation loses it.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
More.
there are other people that raised their hands. So sorry, Louisa, I'll stop you here. I see Karen and Elaine. Karen, please.
I wanted to express my appreciation for so many things. First, Jake Schneider, the man who came to write the article, he wrote a beautiful, wonderful article, and with all those links. So if you looked at it and spent time, you could really find out so much about the history of Yiddish in Texas. And then the people like Mariv and others who asked if we could discuss this in our session so that we could all read it together. It was a great experience. And then we learned a lot about everybody's experience. It was just an amazing article, and I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Since you are here, what about where you live? You live in San Francisco, yes?
Yeah, Fischel's group is in.
Karen, you live in San Francisco. Are you, besides Fischel's group, are there any other groups in the area that you know about?
Yes, there's a Northern Worker Circle branch of Northern California, and it's active, and they offer Yiddish classes every 2 weeks. And that's, and then there's the Jewish folk chorus of San Francisco. They're going to be 100 years old next year, and mostly we learn Yiddish songs, a little bit of Ladino, some Hebrew, but it's primarily Yiddish songs, and so it just feels like there's Yiddish everywhere.
Interesting. It's interesting that, we have a group that is from so many places, and we get to know. Elaine, before I'm letting you speak, I wanted to ask Hilda. Hilda is in London. Hilda, is there anything that you are involved there in London with an Yiddish group? Like locally?
I have been in the past. At the moment, there is no Yiddish group where I live. There was a Yiddish speaker at the synagogue, which is in Maidenhead, which is outside of London, between London and Oxford. And he is a very fluent Yiddish speaker. I don't know how he learned his Yiddish. Clearly, he learned it at home, but I don't know what circles he moved in as a younger man. He's quite elderly now. And he used to run a little Yiddish group at the synagogue when I first moved here, but he stopped that. And since then, there's been no Yiddish at the synagogue at all. And I've spoken to, we have a new rabbi now, and he started with us about a year ago, and he purported to speak Yiddish, but when I actually met him, he backed down because he thought I was going to start speaking to him in Yiddish, and he got nervous. So he said, well, I do know a little bit, but not a lot. But I think he's encouraging me to start a little Yiddish circle at the synagogue. And
that would be nice.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about, mainly because my background is with the singing. So maybe starting a little group that does a little bit of singing in Yiddish. And if we could get someone who played the guitar or another instrument, then that would be good as well. So I've got that thought in my mind. But I don't meet a lot of Yiddish speakers. I move in Jewish circles, but I very rarely come across someone who speaks fluently in Yiddish.
Okay.
Or even not fluently. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to know, about that corner of the world. It's a big corner, but yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, Elaine, finally, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to comment on the whole concept of the one generation having dropped the ball or so forth. In some cases, we had a shul. I grew up in Brooklyn, and there was a shuler I don't know whether it was work or circle. I'm not sure, but some of most everybody I knew went to Talmud Torah, and there we learned Hebrew, which is what I did. And some went to Schuler, where they learned Yiddish. And I remember my mother very clearly turning up her nose or looking down her nose, or however you want to describe it, about the whole concept of sending the children to Schuler, because she did not consider Yiddish a real language. And she thought that it was very important that, Hebrew was what she wanted me, well, my brother and me to learn. And I probably am the only person, probably the only living person at this point who really liked Talmud Torah. I really liked Hebrew school. Maybe it was just a good school because it wasn't in our neighborhood. Most of all they wanted to do was teach the boys for their bar mitzvahs, but ours was a real co-ed school where we really learned Hebrew. And I remember in 6th grade, when I was almost out, we actually also had a lot of our teachers. I didn't realize that then. A lot of the teachers were probably Holocaust survivors, and
just a moment. Hilda, I see you. You can raise your no, unraise your hand. No, lower your hand.
Yeah.
I will let you talk, but let Elaine finish.
Yeah,
Elaine.
they were probably Holocaust survivors, and I do remember learning Yiddish in addition to the Hebrew, and I actually remember writing an essay. I don't know what you want to, but writing something. It was an assignment, and I remember writing it in Yiddish. And my mother, my mother looking at it and reading it and making corrections and so forth. So, I probably got more, but I remember my mother's attitude was, and I'm just sorry that I wasn't more, because I always loved language and I always loved it. And I'm really just sorry that I didn't, pursue it with, well, whatever.
Yeah, well, thank you, Elaine. Hilda, yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say that you can learn Yiddish in the UK in university. Yeah. And there are quite serious courses. In Scotland, there was a lady who was not Jewish, and she was originally a German, a professor of German, and she learned Yiddish and started to teach Yiddish at university level. And her name is Helen Valencia. She's retired. She's retired now, but she's written a seriously academic book on Sutzkever, the poet. Okay. If you're interested in Yiddish poetry and you're interested in Sutzkever, hers is one of the top academic books on Sutzkever. And also at London, there is a lady called Helen Beer, who is, I'm not sure if she's still teaching now. She's at retirement or coming up to retirement. So it is quite a subject in the UK, in academic circles. What's missing is this, talking in Yiddish, coming together as a big group and schmoozing, doing all of that. That's what's missing in the UK in Yiddish. So the academic side is quite well taken care of.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Marin?
I just want to add also San Francisco is the home of Klez California, which is not like a Yiddish only group, but they're the ones that are teaching all the new musicians to play klezmorim style. And so, there's a lot of Yiddish that goes on with it. I'm sure there's something similar in New York, but it's the only one I know, other one I know outside of New York.
So, there's Canada as well.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's right. I've heard of that. Yeah.
The best.
Klez
Canada is the best.
There used to be Klez Camp. I went one time to Klez Camp, which was held in the Catskills.
Yes, I went many times.
Right, and I think it was the same idea. Yeah.
Well, they have it in New York now, Christmas time.
Yeah,
Around
but it's
Christmas.
not the same, you know, when you're really all together at in one place and
Yeah.
eating
Well,
together.
that's
and
Plus
everything.
Canada.
Yeah.
Okay,
Everyone's
Bonnie,
together.
and we are finishing. Okay, Bonnie, you're muted. You're muted, Bonnie.
But the open mic Yiddish cafe in London, I mean, they're very, very, very large. I've been on a couple of their Zooms, but not for a few years. And they even had a Yiddish weekend. So Hilda, do you have their contact info? I mean,
I can get it for you. I don't have it and I don't participate.
no, I mean, I have it, but I didn't know if you had access to it, because I don't know about, individual schmooze groups. But I mean, they have people giving presentations. It's very, very, very organized. And, maybe when they have a weekend, if you had like a few days, you could go there, wherever they happen to meet.
I'll try and get a timetable or something that I can send to someone who will publish it for you. So you can see it, or
no, I'm saying to you, if you don't already have it. I mean,
no, I do.
You do,
I have friends who, yes.
No, London is just a little off my radar right now from Philly.
Okay.
Although
Vivi Lux is a friend of mine, and she's very involved in all of that.
Yeah, I mean,
And she has now a very interesting podcast about Cockney Yiddish.
Oh yes, that is her interest. She did a PhD thesis on that very subject.
And can you put send the podcast info?
I don't. I need to go to my emails to find
Well,
it.
afterwards,
yeah.
Thanks. This has been fun.
Thank you.
Email us the name of the podcast.
Okay, so it was a very lively session.
Thank you.
Next week I wanted to do Grade, but then there is then Passover comes, and I don't want to interrupt Grade.
Yeah.
We will start next week. We will have to interrupt him and come after
And
2 weeks.
When
So
are you doing? Can I just? I'm sorry. The Shalom Aleichem.
May 4.
And it's going to be at this time, or is it separate?
But it's going to be in person this year.
In live. But can we Zoom it too? Or we'll record it?
I don't know. We have to ask Michael. For technical things, we have to ask Michael. But
we must record
what I may do is read with you the story that we are going to perform.
Yeah.
What I thought about, but I see that Marna went away, that maybe we will do, but I still have to prepare it. I don't know if I will be able to prepare it. So instead of Grade, we may do Trines. Women's Trines, because that will take I don't want to interrupt Grade for 2 weeks and then start again. So, but I have to talk to Marna first, because she did something about it. So I will let you know. On Thursday, I will let you know what we are doing, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Minna.
Thank you for everything. Well, Mariv was one of the people that asked me to read the story.
And I'm glad we did. It was very interesting and informative. And look at all the discussion. My goodness.
To see your names in print. Very impressive.
I tell you.
Oh, I thought that was great. That was so nice of him to do that.
I saw it in my book, so that's, it's okay.
That was so nice of him to include us. That was really nice. I don't know how many writers do that.
Right.
I thought that was so nice.
Okay, so I see you next week. Sei gesund.
Thank you.
Bye.